Here's a bulletin from the campaign trail. Hillary Clinton says she's human. She's shrugging off a mistake she made in claiming she was in mortal danger on a trip she took to Bosnia during her White House years. Seth Gitell has been covering that story and more. He's a journalist with the New York Sun, and he blogs at, of course, Gitell.com. How are you, Seth?
I'm well, Jim. Thanks.
Seth, did the I'm human thing deal with the video that virtually everybody in America has seen, CBS News then and now? Did it do it?
Well, she's in a deep hole now over this, and it's certainly brought all the Hillary haters and the people who think that the Clintons are liars back out of the woodwork. There's always been a perception about the Clintons, both of them, that they lie all the time and exaggerate all the time, and this has only confirmed it. And the fact that there's video of it, that's a terrible mistake to make.
So when she says she made a mistake, I mean, one of the things, I ran for city council, and I'll tell you how stressful it was in one little city. They are on 24/7. They got every word is parsed, as you well know, by people like you and Graham and others. You can't cut this woman slack for this. No?
I mean, she can't, knowing that there was actually video. I mean, she must have remembered, or our staff would have remembered, that there were cameras with her at the time. I mean, that's unforgivable. What isn't is that she does have a good story to tell about her advocacy on behalf of human rights in the Balkans. I remember covering a speech that she made at the height of the Balkans War, and people forget now, but there was already criticism of that after 60 days of bombing Yugoslavia. She gave a very gutsy speech to a group that I saw in Washington, D.C. on behalf of that effort. She should get credit for that, but once again, like her husband, they can't leave well enough alone.
You know, forget what the pause, I don't mean forget, but let's go back to the experience. And the major calling card, it seems to me, for Hillary Clinton in this campaign, and you can recite it with me, 35 years of experience. Well, in the last couple of weeks, most of the things she ticks off, her involvement in the Northern Ireland peace effort appears to be minimized by some who were actually involved. Her involvement in the S-chip thing, the expansion, the extension of health care to kids, at least some of the major players, the Orrin Hatches and even the Ted Kennedy suggest, and obviously he's got Obama as his candidate, suggest not so great. When you pile all these things up, what's left of the candidacy, Seth Gitell?
No, I mean, I think that there's definitely substance, as I just mentioned, to the Hillary Clinton role in the White House. That Yugoslavia example was an important one. However, they can't leave well enough alone. They always push things to the next level. And remember, back in the 90s, there was a real debate about Hillary having too much power. After the healthcare debacle, they really reined her in and had her do these softer events. I mean, I remember back in '99, I wrote a story about all the trips she was taking, and I said exactly the point which we're saying now, which was that these were trips for political benefit, that they were to buttress her international portfolio as she prepared to run for Senate from New York. That was something we were aware of then. She should get some credit for it then. But then again, she should also get some criticism, which was that these trips were completely on the public dime, and that she worked them in ad nauseum.
Well, most first ladies don't pay for their own coach fare, I have to say.
Most first ladies don't travel as much as this.
This is a blessing, I would assume, for Barack Obama, because one thing it has done, if nothing else, has diverted attention away from the Reverend Wright thing, no?
Right, she gave him a big lifeline with that, absolutely.
Let me bring these gentlemen back into the conversation. Reverend Hines, you're in the forgiving business, I believe. It's what you do for a living.
Right.
So does Hillary get a pass on this thing? She says, I'm human, I made a mistake, and maybe even she didn't say it, a big mistake, but I made a mistake. Is that enough? Should that be the end of this?
Well, I think it's a matter of integrity and character, and what a person does consistently speaks to who they are. And if she consistently lies, then I think that describes who she is.
Does she consistently lie? Barack Obama said a couple of days ago, the real front page of the Boston Globe, there's some credibility issues with this candidate. Are there credibility issues?
I think it's not the first time that one of her statements that she's made has been found out to be absolutely false.
How about
Can I just say amen to the Reverend on that one? Amen, absolutely. Look, a mistake is I was landing in Belgrade and I ended up in, oh no, it was Bosnia. No, this is 3 times she was challenged. Someone even said, Sinbad was on that trip with you. He said this didn't happen. He's a comedian. No, come on. She was lying her pantsuit off. There's no doubt about it. And what makes this is what we remember from the Clinton era. They were so shameless. They would lie, right? The building would be on fire, and they'd go, what fire? And they expected you to believe them.
Hey, Seth Gitell, the major pastime now the media is involved in is suggesting, hey, this thing has got to be resolved. It's doing great damage to the Democrats. All these polls show that if Obama gets the nomination, the Hillary people are jumping ship for McCain and vice versa. I think it's garbage. It's early on. But this whole notion that it should be resolved early, even if it's a great idea, we don't go to August in Denver, How does this exactly happen? How do we accomplish that thing?
Well, why should it end early? I mean, as I've written on Gitell.com, there are two races. One is a race for elected delegates in caucuses and primaries. The other one, as Elaine Kamarck has stated on this channel, is a race for superdelegates. The test for superdelegates is flexibility with regard to a candidate when the convention arrives. We still have uncertainty about both these. You got to let it play out. I think it's unfair to make either one of them drop out.
Reverend Hines, both African Americans, like the first African American governor in the nation, Doug Wilder, now Mayor of Richmond, and the white governor of Tennessee, say we have to resolve this thing. There'll be, quote, chaos, according to Wilder, if it turns out Barack Obama goes to Denver, leads in delegates, leads in popular vote, even if narrow, and they, the superdelegates, give it to the other candidate, Hillary Clinton. Would there be chaos? Would there be deep schisms in the Democratic Party? Superdelegates are entitled to vote who they believe would be the best candidate.
Well, I think there are already deep schisms in the Democratic Party, but you know what's going to happen as a result of who gets the nomination for the Democratic Party? Who's to know? We can only wait and find out. I believe that if Barack Obama gets the nomination, he will prove to be a person.
Yeah, but the implication, you know what the implication is that black Democrats are going to go nuts if it turns out the first serious African American with a real chance at the presidency gets it taken away. Stolen is what they would say. Do you buy into that notion?
Democrats are already going nuts, both black and white. So.
You know what the best thing is? That I asked you another question. He doesn't get to speak. 10 seconds, Michael Graham.
I'm with you, Jim Browdy. It's the one delegate firewall. If Barack Obama has one more elected delegates, there's no way that this party is going to take the camp away from him. Period. Ain't going to happen.
Don't worry. It's the last time he'll ever be with me. Trust me. Michael Graham, Seth Gitell, Reverend Evan Hines. Gentlemen, thank you all so much. Coming up.